Well, the consistent drama that we've seen over the last couple months, and not so much in the past, this is a relatively new thing in terms of frequency and intensity, is this this extortion, this false copyright striking. Well, I say extortion. Sometimes it truly is. And then other times it seems to be a vendetta where there's no value coming out of it. It's really just a mission to ruin somebody. So what is it, for the people who don't follow the minutia of creators, what is happening here?
Yeah. So YouTube has a system implemented from US law, the DMCA. Every main website that hosts content will have an option to take down content using DMCA, basically for rights holders to protect their content. So if you upload like a full episode of a TV show or a movie, you can get, if you're a rights holder, you can have that taken down. Like you should. Obviously, you should be protecting your rights, and you can't just have people, straight re-uploading your work. That's not right. You should be allowed to protect your rights. But the problem with DMCA is that anyone can file one, and anyone can file one under someone else's name, and YouTube can do very little to stop that from happening. So it's an unfortunate system of how the DMCA works, but that's just one of the things where the platform's hands are kind of tied in the situation.
So let me pose a scenario here. I can file a complaint against the channel John Swan, and I can do that under, for me, let's say, the name Kevin Lieber. I can pretend to be Kevin Lieber and it won't matter. Or I can just make up a name. Bolt Lampshade. Bolt Lampshade is the name of one of the babies that a member of the baby gang adopted. So I could just say, I am Bolt Lampshade. You have taken my content. Dear YouTube, please strike down this channel. And it's actually going to happen?
Generally it does. Now, YouTube does, to their credit, they do manually check these copyright strikes before they go through. They make sure that nothing in there is blatantly false. Like, they won't let a strike through that's like, John Smith, 123 West Street. Like, that's not going to happen. Obviously, that's
so you have
not
to have
a real
plausible
person.
Information.
Yes, it needs to have something that's, you can look at that and think, okay, this is a real person. If it's clearly not a real person, then they're not going to let it through. So there is actually a person that checks it. But, when you're checking, hundreds of those a day, how deep can you go to check, if a person is legitimate or not? So DMCA works, that you're allowed to reverse DMCAs under very specific circumstances. Generally not. Generally, DMCAs are only, you can only have them resolved between the copyright owner and the person who's being claimed. So the way that it works in US law is really that stuff can only be determined in a court of law unless they're resolved out of court. So it is really between those two parties, and YouTube can't get involved. They're just like they're like the middleman that delivers the notice from the copyright owner to the person who's being claimed. They have nothing to do with that whole situation. But they just have to make sure that the notices that are being sent have legitimate information attached to them, and the person, claiming that they own the content actually do own the content. That's really all that they can, the only way they can reverse those things if it's illegitimate information. But they don't really check it, that in depth, because they do receive hundreds a day, and it would, it wouldn't make sense to, check every single thing for the information and spend lots of time and resources. And it's in the past it hasn't been as much of a big issue, but recently there's been a worrying increase in the amount of people that are having their channels struck down by fraudulent copyright claims. So there's a lot of channels nowadays that are being extorted by people that are pretending to be rights holders and having their entire catalog removed and their channels, terminated, or, threatened to have their channels terminated if they don't comply with some sort of some things that they've put forward. So it's quite a scary thing, because it can happen to literally everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. This doesn't affect just one genre of content either. It really does affect, it can affect anyone. There's been gaming channels.
It's anybody, isn't it?
There's commentary channels. There's, even educational based channels can be affected by this. It really is everyone that can be affected, as long as you have something that someone might want. I don't know why, but maybe someone has a vendetta against you, or maybe I don't know, you're just rich and you just have a lot of money and they want some of that. Who knows? But they will find whatever way they can, and that they will. This is one of the more increasing ways that people are, attacking the system and attacking YouTubers, and it's worrying to see. But it's also more worrying because YouTube can't really do much about it in terms of reversing those, or because they would go against the DMCA, which that's US law. You're not really supposed to mess with that, so you just can't do that. So it's a really, really difficult situation, but it's one that, I hope that we see an answer to, and I'll probably go into later about, what I think we should do about this. But it's worrying to see at the moment.
No,
and,
nobody wants to know what the guy who knows a lot about this thinks should happen. Nobody's interested in that, John. No, so we definitely will not talk about a possible solution. We really just want to complain about the problem.
Yeah, I think that's the best idea. We'll just have YouTube figure everything out, because they're really good at that. We've seen that in the past. They're really good, especially on their policy changes. Those are fantastic. So I don't think we'll have any issues there. We can trust them to handle it.